What's up, YouTube? For the Love of Toys here with the For the Love of Collecting Marvel Legends series Secret Wars Absorbing Man. Now, it's funny because, I do these videos. I say the same things all the time. Not that many people watch this. I do it just as much for me, probably more for me than you. But I have all these Secret Wars figures and I never show them. It's funny. I always show other figures and things like that, but I should be really showing these figures. But I have so many figures and I move stuff around so much, I don't show them because I'm not sure where they are in the display. Like Titanium might be somewhere, somebody else might be somewhere else. So it's hard for me to find them. But, the main figures, I do know where they are because they're a little bit bigger and things like that. Titania was kind of large herself. But anyway, so that's why I don't. And the Spider-Man that was in the Secret Wars, the black suit, I changed his head and I don't know where I put him at. So this is one of the reasons why I don't show. But the Secret Wars cap, somewhere around here, once again, don't know exact. Oh, Gamerverse and Secret Wars cap are very similar. So that's why I don't show the Secret Wars figures. All right. So we're here about Absorbing Man. We got an Absorbing Man big figure back in the day from Hasbro, which is one of the best figures ever made. All right, but we need it updated. Everybody needs an update, and everybody wasn't able to get it. I know all the sob stories that people tell. Did we need another Absorbing Man? I guess. For the people that missed out, I guess. But this is nothing like the other. It used to be an old Sesame Street thing that one of these kids is doing their own thing. And Hasbro just does their own thing. They just release random figures that we've already gotten and you need it again. So here we are. So this this head kind of looks like Jason Statham a little bit too. So anyway, about Absorbing Man. He has a lenticular shield, Marvel Legends series Secret Wars Absorbing Man in the generic text. Like I said, the Jason Statham head, this head here, which is not too bad, but neither of these heads look like the shield. All right. We have the ball and chain, two hands on, two sets. All right. And one of the main gripes I've heard online, and the body looks pretty good, looks like a little bit of an update, but one of the gripes I've heard online and, in groups and things is that we didn't get any absorbing parts. So maybe they'll do like they did with Archangel and throw, a part of Absorbing Man in somebody else's package. That would be a nice touch. And that keeps you buying figures and it keeps it fresh. Keeps you, like I said, wanting to spend your money. It gives you a reason to buy a figure that you wouldn't ordinarily buy if there wasn't a Build-A-Figure piece and they just threw in a Absorbing Man piece. Be a nice touch. But we'll go over the Absorbing Man that I own and we'll see how this stands up. All right, let's take a look at the back of the packaging. You see Absorbing Man, he changes right there when you move the shield. I don't know if it came across on camera or not. All right, I love this new packaging. Oh man, it makes me feel like a kid again. It keeps me buying, and reviewing just to take a look at this packaging. Packaging is awesome. I am really, really impressed. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can get a better look. In case you don't buy this figure and you're looking vicariously through me. All right. So we have Secret Wars at the top here. Marvel. Nice picture of Absorbing Man here. The figures from the wave. I'm waiting on Daredevil. I do have Constrictor. I'm on the fence about buying Marvel's Falcon because black characters stay on the shelf the longest. So when these characters get their release date, he'll probably be the most plentiful one of the wave, I would think. All right. Daredevil is already hot. Constrictor probably will be there too. Magic, I don't know what type of following we have for Magic in this particular outfit, but maybe she'll be there. Spider-Man, he's always hot, but he should be the most made figure in the wave if it's not Falcon. Absorbing Man, I think everybody will pick up Absorbing Man when they see him in the stores, so he might not ever hit the bargain bins. But we'll see how it goes. I'll come back to it in a later date. All right. So it says up here, the read up, Absorbing Man, Brought to battle world by the all-powerful Beyonder, Crusher Creel can duplicate the properties of anything he touches as the powerful absorbing man. Hey, you don't need to say anything else. Perfect. Gives you a little read into the comics, lead in. That's the way it should be done. This is how all things need to be done. Multiple languages, but we seem to have got everything we needed in that little paragraph. I appreciate that. Showed you how to do the shield here. And like I said, nice picture of comic absorbing man. All right. So let's get this figure out of the packaging and see if you would like to purchase Marvel's Absorbing Man. Hold on. Okay, here is Crusher Creel out of the packaging. And I must say, I'm impressed for, what we got. He is a little smaller. I don't know how big he's supposed to be in the comics. That Build-A-Figure was huge, so I don't know if this is his actual size. But I do know, you heard it here first, that Jason Statham should play Crusher Creel, Absorbing Man, in the Marvel universe. All right? If we get a Crusher Creel. All right? So you heard it here first. All right. So the accessories, I swapped the heads because I like the Statham head better. But here's the other head. Okay? Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Nice smirk. Nice design. Teeth look nice. Everything seems to be on point with that head. All right. We got some nice flesh tone hands here. A right and a left. And there you go. All right. No wash or anything on it, no color, but good size. And for gripping. All right. Then we got the lenticular shield. See that? That's the head we should have gotten. At least a head. I mean, if nothing else. All right. So that's how that works. You can always swap that out. I never used these. I don't even know where they are, to be honest with you. All right. And here is the ball and chain. No bendy wire as usual. They just refuse to take that step. I don't know how much more it'll cost them, but it must be a billion. All right. So that's that. All right. So that's all of the accessories. And we'll get those out of the way and do some articulation. Hold on. All right. Let's go over his articulation. Head looks up that far, which is awesome. I got the head up a little higher just to make him a little bit taller. So that's why I get a little bit more range. I don't like the way it's stuck down on the neck. All right, he has wide traps, so when you rotate, it's going to tilt up a little bit. All right, not a big deal. Okay. Shoulders go up that high, big giant shoulders, so they're not going to go up so high. That's fine. Rotate 360. Rotation at the bicep. Double jointed elbows. Such, and then moves up a little further there. Have it down a little low. Hinge and rotation at the wrist. We have a nice little joint here, as you can see, for the abs. Very nicely constructed. Looks more like a anatomical human. All right. Crunches forward that far and goes back that far, which is ridiculous. And rotation at the waist, we should always have. We have no drop down. Yeah, a little bit of a drop down once you pull it. So it goes out that far. Rotation not on the line, though. It's in the middle, as you can see. It's not on the line. So it should have been on the line, but hey, I'll forgive him for that. Rotation at the upper thigh. Double jointed knee. Let's get that in. All right. And his leg goes back that far, just so you know. Hits the scope, and it goes up that far. All right. So no dramatic kicking for him. No rotation at the boot all right, so we got rotation here, but it's really more the pivot than the rotation because it's going to hit the pants or the scope, whatever that is. So let's see what the pivot's like. All right. Let's see what the outside of the pivot's like. All right, so there you go. Not too bad. Now it's going to be hard for him to understand that I messed with his feet, right? Let's take a look at the figure. The back. Cuts a little deep, but hey, The articulation is on point, so, you know, if you want to sacrifice something, you can sacrifice that for that. I don't have a problem with that. And with that done, let's do what you came to see. And let's rotate his fist here. Let's do what you came to see. Let's do some comparisons. Hold on. Here is Crusher Creel, the Absorbing Man, with recently reviewed and released. I reviewed it on my channel, Charlie Nash from Storm Arena. Here he is with my recently reviewed Archangel. Here he is with Devil May Cry Nero. And I can't leave out the Beyonder, the reason for the Secret Wars. And I had to go back and edit in the Hulk. How could I not? This is my maximum Hulk. And here he is with the members of the Wrecking Crew. Bulldozer, Thunderball, Wrecker, and Pile Driver. And I always have him holding the figure for a pile drive. But anyway, do you think we will ever get another Wrecking Crew? Do I need, I'm just not saying do we need. Do I need another Wrecking Crew? Hell to the no. You know, updated articulation, pins, whatever. I'm tired of buying the same figures over and over again, so y'all got it. Enjoy yourselves. And like I said, I don't get paid for this, so I'm not going to keep wasting my money on figures I already have that are just going to shit on my, sit on my shelf and collect dust. They look great the way they are. And I always picture them as being, you know, big, giant, like super steroided up goon type guys. And even in the cartoons, they played them that way and, you know, depicted them that way. So this works for me and I am very content with it. And here we are with a blast from the past. Can't remember what wave this came with, but this is when, excuse me for this, but you know, this is not for kids. And excuse me for this. When Hasbro didn't give a fuck, it just was giving us anything and we were buying it. Like, like what is this? Did he slap cement on his skin and just like, in the leg? Like, come on. Did somebody kill him and his leg got bloody? He should have bled out by now. That's enough. And you know, maybe I'm biased. Here he is with the Hulk Classics wave Absorbing Man. And for me, this Absorbing Man holds up to this day. I bought this Absorbing Man because it was available and I wanted to review it. But this Absorbing Man for me is my Absorbing Man. I don't know if it's because, you know, I got the nostalgia thing and I'm old and I don't know, but just for me, this figure holds a particular place in my heart, as all my figures do, as I always say. But he came with, don't ask me, and I didn't have the ball for the last Absorbing Man, but I have them around here somewhere. But, you know, in my displays, I just put them in there, and I don't care if they have their accessories or not. Like I said, I'm looking at them, not you. But, yeah, I don't have his ball, and it was like a metallic type paint, you know, and once again, I miss Toy Biz, man. I mean, you know, y'all want to talk about Jada, y'all want to talk about the comparison between Jada and Arena. There's no comparison between the figures that Jada makes and the figures that Storm Arena makes. You can say whatever you want. You know, 1 + 1 will always be 2. You can't change it. But these Toy Biz figures, man, were just outstanding, man. He came with like 4 arms or 3 arms. He had the ball and chain. The articulation is off the hook. The colors and, you know, with the gel jump pants or whatever. It was outstanding for me. Even though they weren't purple. I don't know if Absorbing Man's pants are always purple, but I have to do a little bit of research. I can't remember now. But yeah, enough about that. On to the next. And here he is with my final comparison. Himself, Build-A-Figure, Absorbing Man. Just go ahead. Let it sink in for a couple seconds. Go ahead. I'll wait. You talk about pins. Yeah, pins do get wonky as hell. I'm not going to lie. But does it really matter at the end of the day? You display your figures, you sit them, you stand them on the shelf. You're not playing with these figures every single day. You're not a newborn, or I mean, not a newborn. Newborn don't play with toys, but you're not a toddler that's going to play with your toy every day. These toys are really to give you that nostalgic feeling, the comic feeling, you know, whatever feeling is that you get from them, and sit on your shelf and just make you like, wow, I really enjoy toys. So for me, the pens do not bother me in the slightest. You know, now, like I said, they get warped, but you can heat them up and there's different things you can do. And like I said, I don't play with toys. You know, I display them, but my daughter says anytime you touch a toy, you're playing with it. So technically, to her, I do play with toys. But for me, I'm not in here kicking, and I don't even do a lot of photography, honestly. I buy all these toys and I really don't take a lot of pictures. I don't even care to. You know, and I never really did. And there's some guys out there, I want to give them all the kudos. They do outstanding jobs with these pictures that make me feel like I don't even need to take any. You know, I take my pictures more for when I get older and I pass on. My wife has a picture of, you know, the toys that I do have, and just to get a little reference and things. But, you know, cameras and Google and this and that, you can find a price and a picture on anything that you take a picture of. So, you know, that's when I play with my toys, when I decide I want to take a photo and upload it to a site or something like that. But for the most part, I don't even really take photos. All right. But I do enjoy figures, and I wish, you know, I feel differently about the actual interacting with the toy, but I really don't. I really sit them on my displays, and I might switch them up and put them here. And like I said, Pile Driver always has somebody he's putting in the Pile Driver mood, you know, but for the most part, they just sit on the shelf and look pretty. So this figure came with multiple heads, multiple arms, powered down, powered up. You can see his ball that we got quite a few times with different figures. You can see the different size, the difference in size between him and the new figure. Now, granted, this was a Build-A-Figure, and we were upscaling things. You know, I don't mind him being a little powered down. Like I said, I don't know how tall he's supposed to be in the comic because I didn't do a lot of research. You know, he's always been on my list because, you know, he's a Hulk villain. And I was going to show a Hulk, but does it really make a difference? I was going to show a Spider-Man, but does it really make a difference? This was what I wanted to show you, the absorbing men throughout the toy history and how he's evolved. All right. And this one is pretty damn good. Should you pick it up? Absolutely. Especially if you have a bad guy shelf, as I always say. You need all your bad guys. And if you don't have a version, or you don't have this Build-A-Figure version, then go ahead and pick this up. I don't see a need for you to pick it up if you do have the Build-A-Figure version, unless you want a smaller character. Everybody has a different idea of what things are. You know, I'm a real straight across the board, right and wrong person, not my truth, not I only believe in the truth. You know, this was a great figure, and this is an all right figure in its own way. But with that said, I am for the love of toys. Whatever you do, do it for the love. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. My subscriptions are going up, and I'm about to pack it in. But while I'm doing this, I'm going to enjoy myself, and I'm going to enjoy you. Thanks for leaving comments. Thanks for the support that I have gotten over the years. I really appreciate it. And as always, maybe I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.